A lot of people are not aware that the Exu and the Goetia are actually all the same spirits. And through all of my practices, I had to learn this the very hard way. So a lot of people I know maybe practice left hand, and of course if you practice left hand you're gonna work with the Goetia, whether it's you find it through the Klippath, whether you find it generally through working with Solomonic magic, which is working with the 72. Some people consider them jinn, some people consider them demons, some consider, we don't know, they're non-human intelligence. So what are they? All we know is that each of them have an N and a sigil. Now, angels are made of light, jinn are made of fire, or smokeless fire basically. Very similar to almost like a... It's like dealing with electricity when you deal with jinn. That's the only way to describe it. And demons are made of darkness. So a lot of people think that jinn and demons are the same thing. Sometimes, I guess, but for the most part, no. The only thing that I can think of is they have interchangeable names, even in Arabic folklore. Like, for instance, some people will want to work with Mammon, Prince Mammon. But in Islamic folklore or Arabic folklore, he would be called Jinni Maimun, basically. Or if you want to work with Sorath is basically called Abu Madhab in Arabic. Same guy. This is no difference. This is what I'm gonna try and explain about the Exu and the Goetia. So I'm gonna give an example that I still remember once working with Clonac. And although Clonac is literally not standardly part of the Goetia, he's mentioned so much because of money. Now, he is the first in rank in 1 in the 18, and his superior is Duke Sirash. For the life of me, I could not understand when I used to work with Clonac. He always used to give me beauty advice. I would go to him for like business, money, what do I do next? And he would be like, I think you need a keratin treatment in your hair. I think you need a better lipstick. What? Why are you saying this? I was just like, you're a man. How do you know all this? And I was just like, and then I brushed it off and I was like, oh, it's because he's a spirit. Just leave him. Like, okay, yeah, they'll give you. But I couldn't shake it off. Like, he knows too much about beauty. What's going on, basically? So, one day I remember I was reading a book and it was on Pailo Mayombe, and a lot of it was actually to do with working with the Pomba Jirá. So Pomba Jirá is one of those spirits that you don't touch until you're absolutely ready. In some of lesser folklore, she's also known as Maria Padilla, I think, Maria Padilla. And working with Pomba Jirá gives a woman a very spicy charm, a very sexy charm. It's a very it's spicy and addictive. Like men can feel that energy. The story of Pomba Jirá goes as such that she was born into a very poor family, and she actually used to work in a brothel because they had no other way to make ends meet. And she came from the favelas in Brazil, and she literally Pomba was not gonna be condemned to a life of men using and abusing her body. It was a means to an end for Pomba. Like, it was not she's trapped as a prostitute and that's it. No. Pomba was like, she was very ambitious, so she moved upwards very quickly. It so happened that she didn't have anything else. Like, she was obviously born into that type of life, that type of family where there was no other option apart from prostitution. I don't get the impression she wanted. I don't get the impression any woman wants to do it. But, you know, a lot of it is through force, through a poor family, or family left you behind, or you don't know what to do, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we're not here to pass judgment on Pomba or any other woman doing that. Pomba was very, very intelligent in, she had political intelligence. Pomba very much reminds me of Empress Theodora, the wife of the Emperor Justinian of Byzantium. And she also reminds me of Madame de Pompadour of France. And it's interesting that a lot of these women have that type of background because a lot of power in women is sexual, which is why people hate sexuality so much in women. It's threatening because sexual women, as Nama always says, cannot be controlled. Like, sexual women does not mean that a woman is using her body for that. That's not my point at all, what I'm saying here. It's just an energy of you can't be controlled because you have sovereignty and ownership over your body. Okay, so going back to my comments on Clonac. So I was like, I don't get how he knows so much about beauty. So I read this book on Pomba Jirá, as I said before I got sidetracked, and it was very interesting because I remember reading, I was like, oh my god, they mentioned Duke's reaction Clonac in here. Like, what are these guys doing in a Pailo Mayombe book? And of course I was very new to everything, and I did not realize that the Exus, you know, are the same as the Goetia. So the best example I can give you guys is Hermes, the Greek god Hermes, who's actually my patron. Hermes is called Mercury in Roman legend. Hermes is obviously Hermes as a Greek god. And in Egyptian folklore, Hermes is Tehui or Thoth, basically. Same guy. There is no difference. This guy is like a multiple citizen of multiple countries. You know, in one country he's called this, in one country he's called this. Same guy, right? So I enjoyed that, and I learned that Duke Siriach, who is obviously Clonac's superior, actually rules beauty. Oh. It made so much sense to me why Clonac knew so much about beauty. I mean, if your superior in command is basically an expert in that, they would obviously be talking, which is very interesting. And over time, I learned that now anybody who practices Pailo Mayombe or anybody who practices Santiera or Quimbanda or Candomblé can actually tell me this because I don't have the 411 on everything. But the interesting part is that I believe that when a Pailo priest or a Pailo or a Pailera, would be a woman, actually summons the Nfumbe through the Nganga, basically. So the Nfumbe are the spirits, and the Nganga is basically like a cauldron or like a vessel. Like they'll put like spices and like nice stuff, and then like close it with a mirror. I've actually seen a Nganga made in front of me, and it's very interesting. And when you are actually evoking basically the Mfumbe, it really made me question. I was like, are they actually just the Goetia, basically? So for me, my experience, like when I think of Vasago, in Goetia he's Vasago, and obviously in the Exus he's Exu Vasago. Pomba Jirá herself is married to an Exu. Pomba Jirá is just not somebody you want to cross. She's very sexy, she's very hot, she's got that hot energy, very lusty, very fiery, but very, very jealous. Don't look at her, man, don't piss her off. She gives me that typical Latina, that fire energy whenever I think of Pomba. And I'm sure, like, in all my works and travels, I'm sure that I won't be surprised that Pomba is just one of the Goetia as well, and you know, we just haven't heard of her name or something, or she's like one of the, I don't know, like she's ranking somewhere else and we haven't heard of it. So this video is a lot for practitioners or people that are interested in magical practices and our work, that you need to know that if you know one spirit in one area, you probably know them in everything else. It's like, imagine you have, I don't know, I'm gonna go back to this. You summoned Vasago, right? You wanted a money ritual, you summoned Vasago, you asked him something, and then like 2 weeks later, you were practicing Pailo or Santiera, and you actually evoked the Mfumbe through the Nganga, basically, and Vasago shows up as an Exu, and you're like, you again? Like, we just spoke 2 weeks ago. And you look different. What's going on? So it's basically like, imagine if I made videos, but I always had like the same hair, the same makeup, the same dress. It would look a little strange, man. It would just be like, okay, this woman's a bit boring. So, you know, spirits like to like mix things up. They're not boring like most people. Like, most people are lifeless when you look at them. If you work with the spirit world and you work with people, you're like, damn, this is bad. So this is just like a quick video for me to say, like, the Exu and the Goetia are literally the same damn spirits. Like, it feels like lots of people would look at different practices from different parts of the world to cross silo. Like, even in Left Hand, where you'd be considered Prince Mammon third in rank, he's considered very highly in like Arabic folklore, like Mammon. Basically, a lot of people work with Mammon for what? You guessed it, money. Mammon is not what they tell you in the Bible. That Mammon is evil or Mammon is greed. Mammon's like you peace, man. You go live your best life, okay? You go eat and drink and have fun and have your best life. We always hear of him that he's in Italy for some reason. I don't know what it is. Mammon got 25 wives. It's like this guy is. How do you manage 25 wives? Like I looked at him and I said, human men can learn how to manage one wife if they even get to that point, okay? And he was like, and he put his shades on. He's like, because I'm a baller. I was like, no, it's not about money. How do you manage 25 wives? Apparently he's got a favorite wife as well. And the most fun thing about working with the spirits is that they're not half as frightening and scary as people like to think they are. Of course, they have rules. Of course, you have to respect their boundaries as they're not human and you are human. And they have to respect yours as well. It's not a one-way street. They have to respect yours as you are evoking and commanding them, not the other way around. But I very much open this space to people and say that if you approach the spirit world with love and respect, it's a scary minefield, especially when you don't know what you're doing. But if you approach them through somebody obviously who does this type of work, whether it's myself or anybody else, and you approach them with an open mind, because so many people approach them from a place of just wanting to use them. That's not how anything works. Don't make it transactional with spirits. I mean, they'll help you, but it's just, they're not going to have much love. They're going to see it as a transaction. Like, you've evoked them, you give them an offering, bye. It's like going to a shop and buying sugar or eggs or bread or milk. The person behind the counter doesn't care. They'll be like, okay, yeah, £3.20, okay, that's fine. Yeah, here's your bag, go. That's it. They might just give you a smile, but if you are truly really want to get to know them, then you have to know that this cross silo is basically, it's there essentially. Like, they're very prominent. I was surprised to find out that, oh wow, it's the same spirits in Pilo, it's the same spirit in this. Hang on, do you guys just have different names? Yeah, basically, because of course of the language barriers. So before you think that you need to like go so deep and you need to study this doctrine for X amount of time, not really. If you're working with one spirit, they're actually gonna educate you and probably very much entertain you to know what place of the world you should work with next. And I think when you have such a rich understanding of things, there are so many people who feel, oh, I'm not Arab, I can't do like Arabic magic, or I'm not I'm not black, or I'm not from the islands, I can't possibly practice Afro-Caribbean religions. Don't put limits on yourself. Just don't. Just be a world citizen, be open to things, and allow the spirits to move through you to change your life and to help you change other people's lives as well.